Welcome, welcome, welcome. And the energy that I have today is on a whole nother level because people have been asking about the test. That means that we're starting to reach people. And people are literally asking, what is this test all about? And that's what this episode is all about. Let's get it. All right. So a lot of people are starting to join our social media, and people are DMing me asking specifics about the test. And the person that introduced the test to me, and we've been friends ever since, is Stuart Tom. And he's truly known all over the internet. If you look him up, truly known all over the internet of being the Omega man. Stuart, how are you today, sir?
Nolen, I never had a bad day in my life. It's so good to see you.
Man, good to see you as well. Good to see you as well. So people are watching and they're asking about the test, the validity of the test and how the test works. And you're the man to answer those questions today.
Well, I'm so happy we're really reaching critical mass. We kind of teased every episode up until this point. And yeah, the messages are coming in, the DMs are coming in. People want to know about the independence of the laboratory and the objectivity that they have around the data. So we're going to do a deep dive on the test today. I'm actually going to show you what the laboratory looks like in Oslo, Norway, and tell you some stories. I went there myself just over a year ago. So I just want to thank everyone for being so engaged in the subject. And it really looks like we're going to be able to reach our goal of having 250,000 people take a before and after test. And that's only the beginning, Nolen. I think after that, we can raise the goal to 2.5 million.
Absolutely. And I'm all about it. And I'm definitely with it. But you know what? It's just for me and for Bio Bootcamp, for us to get 250,000 people engaged, for us to see their baseline and then to move their health to a better place than where it was. For me to be absolutely able to do that. It's one thing to sell a product and say, hey, we had X amount of people buy this product. You don't know if it worked. It's one thing to give tips and medical reviews and all of that and say, I want to equip people and educate people as much as possible about what the do's and don'ts and the what to's and what not to's and all of that. That is all great. But to have concrete evidence that this person, I got them from here to there. This person, I got them from here to there, right? And to know that, that's what Bio Bootcamp is all about, is using the biohacks, using the biomarkers and having the biohacks reflect that to personally move each person. That would be big for me not being a doctor of some sorts, right? I could as a doctor, I could say, I saved 20 people's lives last week, right? I've conducted so many surgeries, but just to have the heart to help people, to give them a healthy life, to look better, feel better, and perform better is so impactful to people. People look at the finances and say, I want to be rich. But if you're rich and sick laying in bed, then you're not really maximizing the fruits of your labor, right? To live a well-balanced, no pun intended, but to live a well-balanced life to where you feel good, you look good, you build confidence, the longevity of it, That's my passion here. So I'm gonna get off my soapbox. I didn't mean to go.
Oh, no. I love you so much. And I love hearing you say it, because what we're doing is we're not trying to pretend like we're doctors at all.
Right.
That's not our job. On this show, we refuse to exceed the science or make claims that we're not allowed to make. And so that's going to be why Bio Bootcamp is different. You turn on YouTube and you listen to doctors that should know better, that are talking about dietary supplements and a specific disease.
Right.
You cannot do that, and it's happening all over the place. So we're trying to demonstrate that we can add value. It's edutainment. We can entertain you and educate you and empower you at exactly the same time. And I'm visualizing, you know where I'm going with this. We're going to have a series of these tests. We already have 3 others, well, 2 that are already made and 1 that's coming. But Nolen and I are eventually going to have 5 of these at-home blood spot tests. We're not prescribing drugs. We're not diagnosing diseases. We're not treating anybody. We are empowering you with your information. The chief science officer of our company said this to me recently. I thought you'd love this. He said, Stuart, this test represents the Gutenberg press.
What is that?
And at first I was like, what are you talking about? Right. And I remember the Gutenberg press, right? Printed Martin Luther's Bible, the first book printed on a large scale was the Bible in German. And I'm like, oh, yeah. You no longer needed an intercessor. What he was saying, the intercessor was the priest.
Right.
You could go direct to the man. That's what this is all about. The reason that this thing is so disruptive is because COVID was a blessing in disguise. Telemedicine never got bigger. Look at now, we all know how to connect on Zoom. The FDA, I heard through a good source, they're just about to approve those strep throat tests where you go, oh.
Yeah.
Remember you have to go to the doctor and how horrible that was?
Yes.
Yeah, but imagine could you do it yourself? Yeah.
You could. Absolutely.
Well, that was a new thing. So we're on this wave of personalized nutrition. This is the future. This is the mega trend of the future of nutrition. Celebrity influence is dead. Nolen and I are going to become recognized as not making it about us. That's why it's not called the Nolen Davis Show, even though I call it that, right? I love you so much. But it's Bio Bootcamp because it's all about you. So that's the transition that we're living through. And that's why I can't wait to get up every day. And sometimes people say, well, he's all jacked up like that all the time. What do you mean you never had a bad day in your life? Here's what I mean by I never had a bad day in my life. People ask me, Stuart, what do you do for a living? You know, people ask you that question on an airplane or an elevator. I say, do you know how eventually everybody dies? Then they kind of look at me a little stunned. I say, for those that would like to put that off a little bit longer and live a little bit healthier, this may or may not be for you, but I help them achieve their goals. If you're interested in that, perhaps we should talk. They're like, whoa, if I could show you a test that could prove whether or not your diet was working,
right?
Would you want to find out on a cellular level with a test whether or not you were in the safe zone or the danger zone? Well, what do we mean the safe zone or the danger zone? If this is your first episode, I got to do the omega hands. It's easy, okay? Omega-6, this is what we've learned, is essential. What does that mean? Your body doesn't make it. If you don't eat it, you have big problems. Omega-3, essential. Your body doesn't make it. If you don't eat it, your body has big problems. Omega-6 makes the largely pro-inflammatory signals. Yikes. Omega-3s make the largely anti-inflammatory signals. Science now has found you want to be 3-to-1, 2-to-1, or 1-to-1. 1-to-1, 2-to-1, or 3-to-1. Anything above 3-to-1, staying alive is the danger zone. So we have a simple at-home blood spot test that can give you the most important number for health and longevity that you don't know. The most important number that you don't know that you should know. And when you were to stratify the benefit of getting into balance, it's incredible. They just recently added this data to what they call the pooled risk analysis. What the heck is that? It's not a swimming pool. This is where this is what a cardiologist uses, very allopathic, conservative doctors, which we love on this show. We're not at odds with physicians at all. We want you to bring this information to your doctor.
We're not at odds with, because this is the only company that I've seen that naturopaths and doctors are holding hands, singing Kumbaya under one flagship. Because most of the time people are like, hey, those doctors don't know anything. And doctors are like, naturopaths are just full of the woo-hoo, right? And this is the first time. So absolutely, I just want to...
No, it's the first time because they're sharing the biomarker.
Right, exactly.
They're sharing the target. Now, if you think, I had this guy that's a Qigong master. If you're listening to this episode, Master Owen, hello, sir, how are you? He's 80 years old. The guy, I don't know if he can truly levitate, but he's the closest I've ever met to someone that if somebody could, he could. Okay?
Right.
And he's so cool. And he said to me, Stuart, I can do all of this remotely. He's a Qigong master. He said, I can get my omega-6 and my omega-3 into balance using Qigong. I said, I would love to see that. I mean, I was shocked. I was like, oh, he called me a couple of weeks later. He said, I found out I can't do that. I said, well, what do you mean? You're a Qigong master. You can levitate. You're Master Owen.
Right.
He said, no, there's the body. There's the spirit, right? He's dealing on an energetic level. We're talking about on a structural level,
right? Making
Making sure that every cell in your body has the optimal omega-3 to have a healthy cell membrane and mount an appropriate inflammatory response. But going back to the pooled risk analysis for a moment, okay. You've got allopathic doctors. We'll do a whole show on this. And there'll be many of our physician friends that'll be on in coming episodes. But they recently, this blew my mind. So they pool all the risk. You get it? And they pooled all the risks together. What does that mean? The first risk for, in this case, was heart disease is age. You get it? The older you are, the greater the risk for having a heart attack. Does that make sense?
Sure. Yes, it does.
I hope nobody's surprised by that, okay? Number 2, remember I did this before, you like this? Cigarette smoking, don't do that.
Right.
They know for sure that if you want to increase your risk of heart disease, then smoke. The third risk is blood pressure. That's a big risk factor.
Yeah.
It's a biomarker, it's an important biomarker, right? You want your blood pressure to be in range. If it's not, it's a problem. Your omega-3 is really no different. Then after that, they have LDL cholesterol, which we'll have many shows on in the future. Big fat debates worth debating about LDL cholesterol. But right after that, they included this information, Nolen.
Mm-hmm.
And they found out that this information on our test was twice as predictive as LDL cholesterol. So it's the most modifiable risk factor after quitting smoking. It's equally as helpful to your health as quitting smoking. And it's a more modifiable risk factor than LDL. So what if you don't have any of those problems like Nolen, and then you just want to start getting out on the track again and start exercising more, and you get your cells into balance, and the cells are operating correctly, and they're optimized? Are you going to be the best Nolen that you can be right now at this age? You see where I'm going with this?
Yep.
The answer is yes.
Well, you know what? Before we get into all the elements about the test, let's play a video to show people what the test is about. And we'll talk to you a little bit more about the test when we come back.
6.3 billion people are not getting enough omega-3s. Omega-3 is an essential fatty acid. We need to get our omega-3s from the food we eat, or by taking supplements with fish oil. Antioxidants ensure the omega-3s stay fresh and potent, so our body can absorb the nutrients, but not just any antioxidants will get the job done. Polyphenols are the game changer. Powerful micronutrients working in synergy with the omega-3s to slow down oxidation and optimize absorption in order to offer long-term health benefits to your body. The refining process will rid the fish oil of virtually all mercury and PCBs. Unfortunately, this process also washes out the natural polyphenols in the oil. This is why most modern omega-3 supplements have little effect in the body. Polyphenols from pre-harvest olives are are the plant-based equivalent to the antioxidants naturally found in seafood. This is a fact often overlooked by the fish oil industry. It puts our Balance Oil Plus in a league of its own. Our synergistic formula brings the magic of polyphenols and omega-3s back together. This is a revolution in omega-3 supplements. Our supplement is actually closer to oily fish than fish oil. We've captured a true force of nature. All you have to do is put our product to the test, literally. The Zenzino Balance Test is at the heart of our balance concept. You take the test before you start using our Balance Oil Plus, and then again after 120 days. This way, you get to see for yourself if your essential fatty acid levels have been restored. And we get to prove that our supplements really work. Let's take the guesswork out of a healthier way of living. Find out if you're in the clear, or if it's time to act now to maintain normal physical and mental functions in your body. From the pioneers of test-based, personalized nutrition. Zenzino. Inspire change in life.
Now you see how important it is to take the test. Just wanted to play that video. We play that video in each and every episode just to show what everything is all about. But now we're going to do a deep dive into where the test is going, how the test is facilitated, those things. So Stuart, take it away.
So yes, the test, what is in your blood will shock you. If you are not testing, you are guessing. If you're spending any money at all on dietary supplements, on supplemental protein, if you're going to the gym, if you're concerned about your health at all, you need to take this test. So you can't manage what you don't measure. You cannot manage what you don't measure. Now, our dry blood spot test, let's make that clear, Nolen, for anyone just tuning in. This isn't a vein puncture. You do not need a doctor's appointment, yet there are 3,000 doctors in Germany that recommend this test to their patients. And 50% of the business that we're doing in the United Kingdom is also coming from healthcare providers. So you can do the test yourself, or you can have your doctor perform it for you. I work with a lot of doctors. Nolen and I work with a lot of doctors where the physician may perform the first test, and then the patient performs the second test. Or doctors that are sending it to the patient, and then they just watch the video that we play every episode. I hope that's really great. I love when I see the blood dropping on that blotter.
Right.
That's taking it away from it being subjective to truly objective. So we measure your omega-6-3 ratio. That's what we call your AA-EPA ratio. We'll have whole episodes on that. The omega-3 index, which is a percentage of omega-3 EPA and DHA in your red blood cell. It's absolutely quantifiable, like all of these indices. And then check it out, 11 fatty acids in total. So you're not just going to get the ratio. You're not just going to get the index. You're going to get 11 fatty acids. So we're going to be able to see inside of you, based on your blood, how much palmitic and stearic acid. What the heck are those? All these big terms. Those are saturated fats that our bodies make from carbohydrates. We make saturated fat all day long. Now check this out, Nolen, because you're going to have an aha moment here. If you're not eating sardines every day, if you don't have enough omega-3, can you see that if you have too much omega-6 in your diet, and then your body makes saturated fat from carbohydrates, how your cells could become thick and sticky and rigid in the absence of enough omega-3, because your cell membranes are going to self-assemble with saturated fats and omega-6s. Are you seeing the visual?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's why we don't, every time we repeat this is a deep dive for everybody. It's going to take some time to really learn lipids, but everybody on Bio Bootcamp is going to become an expert here in this subject. And then we've tested over 1.4 million tests around the world. It's simple, painless, and it's analyzed by one of the greatest laboratories of all time, Nolen, and I got to go there.
Right. What laboratory is this?
It's called Vitas Analytical Services. Look at how cool that place is. That's the Science Center in Oslo, Norway. So here's the story, Nolen. I started working with them just over a year ago. And I started to bring on some really, really very important people in the omega-3 space, like some of the titans, right? The heroes in the space. So they flew me over to Vitas Analytical Services so I could see it with my own eyes. And so it was a big deal. Look at how cool the building looks. Can you imagine the scale with that big tree?
Absolutely.
What that looks like pulling up? And I have a video of this too. We'll get a video of the entire center, of the inside of the center too. So we can play this on the show. I want people to come in and experience it the way that I did. They have been there. Vitas Analytical Services has been there at the Science Park in Oslo, Norway for 31 years. 31 years. It may be the first place on earth to ever conduct a dry blood spot test. Right? I say may because I love science so much. They have probably the biggest database of this in the world of omega-6/3 blood spot tests and omega-3 indexes. But check this out. And I think I'd get in trouble if I showed this picture on the show. So I'm just going to describe it. They asked me not to take pictures in there in the lab.
Right.
And I did. I snuck around, took a couple pictures. But there's this wall that has every biomarker in the human body. Every biomarker in the human body for Bio Bootcamp with the range, a reference range for each of these biomarkers. And I sat there and I said, wow, the database that we're creating is more valuable than the total sales of the company. Right. Because it's all blinded data, Nolen. What do I mean by that? When you open up this test kit and you see all the parts in the video, there's a little card, an identification card that has your number. The second you take the test, you go to the website and we show you where you register your test so that when it's done and your results are emailed back to you, you know how to access them. So it's all blinded data. They do 6,000 blood spot tests a day at Vitas Analytical Services, little robots. There were people there too, but just walls and walls and walls of these robots just testing and testing, and they're prepared for global scalability. Now, this particular lab, Vitas, V-I-T-A-S, anyone please look them up. They've won top awards for quality control and quality assurance. It's an analytical testing laboratory. You see, they're not doing human clinical research there. That's not what we do. We test blood spot samples and look at their partners. Harvard University, University of Cambridge, King's College London, Max Planck Institute in Berlin. That's like the most sophisticated research center, one of them in the world. The University of Oxford, Massachusetts General Hospital, University of Oslo, Tufts, Lund University, Zoe in the UK and in the US. They work with Abbott, Bristol Myers Squibb, the World Health Organization, and their single biggest customer is us, Nolen.
Yep.
We are the biggest customer at Vitas Analytical Services. What does this do for your confidence level when you see this?
So for me, it does a couple of different things. One, we're not holding back any information. We're telling everybody that they can do their own research. Everything has been validated. Everything has a high reputation. That's absolutely where you want to be when it comes to your health, right? Two, we know that your information is strictly anonymous, right? So nobody knows exactly who you are. You literally just get on with a number, so they don't have any ethnic background. They don't know any. You could literally take a test every day and they would have no idea it's you. And the reason I say that is because if I take a test and I'm thinking I'm writing Nolen Davis down on the test in 120 days, they're going to say, okay, here's Nolen Davis's second test. They had no idea, right? So all of those little things in your head that you're thinking, oh, this is probably a scam because it's blind that way. There is no way to do that. And I absolutely love that.
Well, one of the guys we're going to have on the show is the neurosurgeon for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay.
He's in his 80s. He's like the dad I never had. I mean,
Okay.
you can't always pick your biological dad, but you can pick your mentors, right?
Right. Absolutely.
And he's a Bio Bootcamp champion. When you meet this guy, he's incredible. He wrote the book Fish Oil, the Natural Anti-Inflammatory. He's been the neurosurgeon for the Pittsburgh Steelers for over 30 years. So he was one of the early members in the team. Mm-hmm. He took the test, and it's a blinded test, and he's a neurosurgeon, but he's a busy guy. So he took the test, and he said to me, hey, Stuart, I can't wait to get my results. When are they going to email them to me? I said, doctor, did you register the test? And he said, what? I said, there was a little number in there, a card, in the instructions, right? It said, keep this card and write this number down. We say, take a picture of it.
Right.
And he said, I didn't write that down. I didn't take a picture of this. This was an incredible moment. We were having a big medical call with many of our top doctors. And I love this guy so much. I respect him so much. I could tell he was upset. And I said, doctor, I'm so sorry that I didn't tell you to write down the number. And then he says to me, Stuart, I'm a brain surgeon. I'm sorry that I can't read, which I thought was a great way to recover from this. So we even had a moment with somebody as prestigious and as high level as Dr. Maroon is. He was like, what do you mean I can't get my results? That's how you can trust them. You can also trust that that's why the data that's coming out, we are data mining those 1.4 million tests. There are several manuscripts that are going through peer review right now. Wait until we lay this data on the world. Because at the end of the day, all that matters is you and your biomarkers. What do I mean by that? The food pyramid was wrong. The food plate, by that time, no one would listen to the government. Not nobody, but most people don't listen. Right. And then if they tell you a reference range, a recommended amount, they're completely inaccurate. The daily recommended amount of vitamin D, for example, is wrong. That might be the amount that they recommend. That part's right. But how much vitamin D, like David, do you need? Enough to get the right amount in your blood. Just like the omega-3 recommendations, the Office of Dietary Supplements just made a recommendation for all women of childbearing age to take 250 to 1,000 milligrams. That's wrong. What's right? To get the right level in your blood. That's what matters. So why blood tells the truth? Membrane composition, this is what we're measuring in the red blood cell, reflects long-term dietary fat intake. That is different than a vein blood test, which can fluctuate. Dry blood spot tests offer more stability. What does that mean to you? On a rare occasion, Nolen, you're going to hear, I can get my omega-3 included in my standard blood test. It's not on the standard blood panel. You would have to pay for it. You're not going to get it for free, but it'll be part of your vein puncture. The vein puncture, that plasma level, that can show fluctuations, short-term fluctuations. The reason that this test is actually more stable and more accurate is because it reveals the hidden cellular risk. The hidden cellular risk. Because it takes 120 days for the red blood cells to turn over completely. So you're going to see the biggest drop in 30 days when you go from out of balance into balance. Okay. But because it takes 120 days, this is a proxy for systemic inflammation. This is a reflection of every cell and every organ in your entire body. And that's why we want to get 250,000 people tested before and after to reveal the hidden cellular risk.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you know what? We really thoroughly went through the text, where the lab is, the process. Anything you want to say before you go, Stu?
That this is the single most important number for health and longevity that you don't know that you should know. We're this close to it being unthinkable to start taking a dietary supplement without testing first. Let me say that again. We are on the verge of it being unthinkable. We're going to look back on the last 20 years of celebrity influencers trying to tell you.
It's not doing back then, right? Think of what was I doing back then.
We're going to look back. We're thinking it's like dumbest thing we ever. Hey, and I know this guy. I'm actually going to name him Mark Sisson. He's the paleo guy, right? And he's been around for a long time now. Maybe people kind of forgot him. Okay. He was genetically, this guy had like a 15-pack and he could eat whatever he wants. It was totally genetic. Totally genetic. And he told a good friend of mine that was a TV producer, I realized I could eat whatever I want and still look this good. And I decided I'm just going to turn it into a brand. We're going to look back on that as ridiculous. If you're not testing, you're guessing.
Absolutely. Test-based nutrition is literally like the AI of supplements. It's going to be the next wave of things. And Bio Bootcamp is the one that's introducing it to you right here, right now. So follow us at Bio Bootcamp Live on all social media. Share, like, and follow. And then if you want to take the test, go to biobootcamplive.com. Stu, I want to thank you for tuning in with us, educating us, and letting us know the ins and outs about the test. I'm Nolen Davis, and until next time, love to live to love, and be well.